more time for those of us just joining us. We're running a bit behind. Our host, Natasha Miller, is on her way. We've been caught in traffic between here and Detroit. In the meantime, I'd like to present Jillian and Tasha with a poem tribute to Patiense Mckenzie. Thank you.
So, hold on. I wanted to say a quick note about this because this is, it's important to know that this is a poem that Patience and I wrote together. So Tasha will be reading Patience's part. We wrote this together to perform when we were supposed to compete at the College Union's Poetry Slam Invitational, but COVID knocked that out of the question, and we never got a chance to perform this, so I figured now would be a good time to do this, and especially knowing Patience and who she was, I think it's a good tribute to her. So, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it. So, I'm at a party and
there are two people who are fucking in the middle of the room to Megan Thee Stallion, and everyone pretends like they're not watching.
There's a girl here who just snorted Molly and is telling me all the reasons she needs therapy.
There's a girl here with a book. She brought an actual book, says she doesn't go anywhere without her Bible.
There's a girl crying and doing shots saying my name like she's tasted it before.
There are two girls who are now best friends because they found out their birthdays are in the same month.
There's a creepy guy hanging on the girl with only glitter on her tits, so I pretend that we're dating.
The boy doesn't believe us, tells us to prove it, so we read him this poem.
When I say I'm in love with every girl at the party,
I mean, I brought her roses because she reminds me of the color red, like a warning sign. She's so dangerous. Tonight, I treat this like our first date.
I mean, I make every girl want to give me a bouquet of all her secrets just to get me to say her name, and so when we smoke a cigarette outside together, she sees a dandelion and wishes me to be hers.
I mean, I made her a whole playlist on Apple Music, and tonight I find out that she has Spotify.
There's a girl here that says she wants to dance with me, says she bet I taste like music, so I give her 3 minutes and I become her favorite song. When I say I'm in love with every girl at the party,
I mean the one who brought her own joints, her own drinks, her own boyfriend.
And the one who won't have one after this night is over.
I mean the one whose clothes hug her so tight I start to think of all the ways I can make her feel warm.
And I start to think of all the ways I can get her out of them.
I mean the one that makes you tell them a secret we just met, but still tell me everything that you're afraid of.
Me? You saying you scared? Scared that the life of the party is about to steal the air out of your lungs? It's not taking if you give it to me.
I may not be the hot girl, but we rode in the same car together, which means maybe, just maybe, we get to leave together too. Hot girl has superpowers.
I can make everyone fall in love with me.
And me? I can make everyone disappear. I cling on to the hot girl, now everyone is forced to see me.
I like being what everyone else makes me out to be. I will lie about all the right things.
And I will believe you. All I want is to call her baby and wake her up in the morning.
Instead, we end up making out in the same bathroom someone just threw up in. When I say I'm in love with every girl at the party, I mean I have this girl telling me her life story and I just got here 30 minutes ago.
And I get so drunk that I can tell her I love her.
And I am so drunk that she doesn't have to say anything. This is a game, this is a mission, and I am an awful person, but this is a party.
They name me Crazy Drunk Girl even after the party's over. Oh, how she's so sad, so empty bottle, and I still don't feel anything.
When I say I am in love with every girl at the party,
I mean the one who hasn't even invited in the first place.
The saddest one here, crying outside.
The one calling her mom when the edibles hit.
The one who came because she needed a break.
To feel full, to feel loved.
And I gave her that.
For a night, when
I say I am in love with every girl at the party,
I mean I made sure to stay sober enough to remember her.
I mean I did my best to make sure I wouldn't. But God, I wish I could have been her instead. Thank you. No.
Thank you. That was amazing. Again, this is a time where we can remember patience. If anyone has any stories to share.
I'll tell a story. I'll tell a story. I could rant forever. I love talking. I could rant forever. Woo! What's up? Where am I like Andre and all of them.
I don't know.
So Andre's over there. Is that Andre? I think that is Andre. Where's Xavier at? I want him to hear this story too. Exactly. Look at that. Look at that. We're already laughing because this is where they met. I don't know if you know that. This is where we met. But anyways, Patience actually taught me how to say "How are you?" How are you all doing today?
Good.
How are you doing?
Good.
That's something that she taught me. I used to hate asking that or be asked that question. How are you? I'm like, it's too early to ask me how I am. Do you really want to know how I am? Like when I go to work, I always have to lie. I don't like lying. How are you? I'm good. No, I'm not. No, I'm not good. Sometimes you want to say that, but you can't because you're a professional. You're an adult. And that's why we write poetry. We're angsty, right? So, but I'll get to that. In a sense, like, I remember when they met, right here. She sat right there, and I was such a big fan. I remember, I think she was a freshman, and she wrote this poem about how she had this horrible dorm roommate who was a Trump supporter.
I have that poem.
Oh, it was amazing. It was an amazing poem, and they were competing, and then it was Xavier and Patience. They tied for first place, and they became the feature at the poetry room, and I was such a big fan. I am a fan of Xavier. We all know he's great, but I remember just wilding out over there. I came up to her, and she was like, "Who's this guy over here?" I was like, "You're fantastic." She had like so many friends around her, and I was like, "You're fantastic. I'm a big fan." I remember everybody was like, what, like, everybody was so magnetized by her because she had this way of doing poetry, which was like funny, but serious at the same time, and she was just so incredibly charming. And I remember that my nickname for Xavier and Patience was XP, right? So I was like, oh, we're gonna have XP become a feature because they were always together, and I love that so much that I was here seeing when they met. And I remember Patience was one of the most loyal people I've ever met. My goodness, when we were going about picking the cup seat, there was 2 spots that they wanted to fill, and I remember that. And they were going back and forth. There was somebody who was really good, and she was so well practiced. Everybody was like, we need to have her on the team, but she was like super brash, and I was like, I ran into her a few times, but I remember Julian was like, we gotta have Julia, and Patience was like, we have to have Andre, no matter what. And I told them, I was like, this whole thing that you're gonna do is gonna be for months on end, right? You're gonna have to like these people. I was like, this person's not, she might be talented, but she wasn't a nice person. So they were all cheering, and I was like, if you've seen Andre's work as well, Andre had always gotten better. He kept trying. I was like, every day he was posting his poems. I was like, how many times a day do you write? And I was like, this person just kept on doing it. And Patience had that belief in Andre more than anybody that I saw vouch for anybody ever. And I was like, I didn't know Andre's work like that, but the way that Patience was like, I was like, we better not make Patience mad. I was like, let's just bring in Andre. We brought in Julia, and the person who was super talented, we never saw again. Sorry, it was just the way it was. But I thought it was the most beautiful choice that they ever made. And that's what I hope for this Cup C team as well, because that team that y'all have was the most tight-knit team ever. And that's the thing about Cup C. It doesn't matter if you're talented or not talented. You will become talented if you keep doing it. Andre was a great example of it, right? He wasn't the best when he came by. He really wasn't, and there's no offense. But you got so good. And now you remember me coming up to you, I was like, damn, he got really good because Patience believed in you. And that faith that she poured into Andre made him grow. And I was like, y'all made the best choice. Y'all made the best choice because I believe till this day, if that girl was here and versus Andre would destroy her. You know? And and they have that camaraderie. And when I see CUPSI today, that is, and the next generation, and forever, I believe that is because of patience. And and that's what she really taught me. And I remember talking to her. I don't know if y'all, like, I'm from like the older generation. I talk on the phone. That's not a thing people like to do. But Patience did pick up for me, talk on the phone. and I would, when I talk on the phone, I go, when we needed to get stuff done, I would just say, hey, did you do this? Do you need help on this? Blah, blah, blah. That was it. And when I was trying to get off the phone, she goes, you never asked me how I am. And I was like, what? She's like, we're talking. You can ask, how are you? You never know how somebody is doing that day. And I thought that was the most beautiful thing ever, that somebody gave that to me, to be so patient with me. Because when I'm working on something, I'm a lunatic and I want to get things done as fast as possible. But she was so loving, she goes, you should always ask somebody how they are. And that's the thing I will always be thankful for her. The one thing I'll remember, because she was a glue. She was a glue part of the CUPSI team. I remember that. And that's who she was. So I think we all have something to thank her for. So thank you for listening to my little rant about how amazing Patience was. You probably have a million one stories. Yo, it was wild.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go talk, sure. I mean, I guess it's hard to pick words. For somebody who defines a chapter of your life. And she definitely did that for a lot of us. And she was, I mean, like Misaki said, the glue of poetry here. And yeah, I mean, I can't think about it without thinking about her. And she's the kind of person that no matter how long went by without talking, you knew that you could pick up right where you left off. And she remembered things that people didn't remember. And she asked questions that you really wouldn't think she would care about. But she did. And I've never met someone who looks at life the way she does, and it's changed my perspective completely. She really, I have a poem that I'm going to read later, so I don't want to give too much away. But multiple times she told me she fell in love with everyone she met, and she was not kidding. She loved passionately and it was unwavering. And to have somebody like that, she was truly the first person I knew that did that. And to see that brings a new capacity to human emotion that I didn't know was possible. And, you know, I remember her talking about her mom and her family and all the people close to her, and she had such strong feelings about everything. You know, she was the kind of person where she would always have an opinion. And if she was upset, you would know. And if she was happy, you would know. And it's hard to not have that as a constant reminder, but I know that I have to continue being that for other people because that's what she would have wanted. And so I guess the point I want to make is I hope that everybody here, whether you knew Patience or not, just loves a little harder today and tomorrow, because that's what she would have wanted, and that's what life is about. And she really, really got that a way I had never seen before. So please hold on to who you have and ask people how they're doing. And I wish I would have done that a little more. So, thank you.
How y'all doing today?
Good.
How are you?
Good. Just, I don't know where to really start. Like, I remember
From the beginning.
from the beginning, yeah, from the beginning. It's like a lot of stories coming back, like reels. All right, Patience. First time meeting her, came into my dorm room with Xavier. And like, it was after the poetry show Misaki was talking about. That was my first time getting a taste of who Patience is and just the essence of her being. I mean, she said everything right on the tee in terms of like who she was and the type of person she was and how unconditionally she loved people and the passion that she put into her poetry and into people. And you can, I mean, you can't really replicate that. You can only try to raise the bar and reach that type of love and intention that she does.
Yeah.
Yeah, just getting words out. I can just feel my body. Yeah, just coming on campus, I just felt this energy of all the places we've been, all the places we had conversations, all the nights we were drinking or writing or reciting poetry and sharing different pieces. But I think those moments kind of like, it reminds us of why we are here now and why we have to take every single day and appreciate the people that surround us, and also just check in. Yeah, check in on your strong friends. I'm thinking of poems that she was just saying in my ear. I have them in my phone. I can pull one up if y'all want to hear one of her poems.
Yeah!
I'll go in the docs. Just a minute. Words live forever. Write down your thoughts, write down your emotions. Let people know what you're thinking, what you're feeling, because it's always good to get it out and let it live and exist.
Hello. While he's looking for another poem to read, Latasha is caught in traffic somewhere.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, you are? Oh, Latasha, wait, you better get down here, girl. Why am I up here?
Oh,
But come on down. We got people live streaming looking at a blank microphone.
Yeah.
You know where Patience got her outgoing this from.
I always say in the beginning of every show or performance, give it up for yourselves for being here. Give it up for Patience, obviously. I felt like tonight was the very best way to honor Patience. Obviously, I met Patience in 2018. And she asked me to come and help out with the Poetry Slam team here at Michigan State University. And I wouldn't say I was skeptical because I was asked before, but just from meeting her, I saw so much of myself in her. And I think that from a black queer woman in Detroit to make your way to Michigan State, to graduate from Michigan State, there's no better honor, I feel like, in the world. We don't really, for myself, go to college. We don't understand what that path looks like. But it's also an honor to her family, so give it up for her mom. very, very, very difficult for me to process this as, I say as a mentor and somebody who I felt like was a mentee. I could text Patience anytime and ask her to just kind of show up and come to a poetry slam or come to a poetry show or whatever it was that I was doing. And she always showed up and she always had amazing energy. So I think it'll be a while that I actually, process what has happened to all of us. But I think forever we need to make sure that her legacy and her life is always referred to. So one of the things that we have decided to do at the museum itself is create a fund in her honor, which is the Patience Fund, to help the Cupsy team get to nationals every year. Okay, you know 2 people. I know I got like 4 people with money, so it's like, but only one of them are gonna give me money. So it's like, so I'm there. And I'll give my own money, and then for myself, just to y'all gonna hold me to it, to dedicate my time to coaching the Poetry Slam team, and you owe me nothing, and that is in honor of Patience.
Thank you.
So tonight is, we have an amazing poetry slam coming up with amazing poets. Tonight is about Patience, but if Patience was here, and she was always here, and it seems very cliche, she would want for us to have a good time. She would want for us to put up good poems. Looking at her life, again, like, I'm not really threatened by many poets, but goddamn, I was listening to her like, you might try to comfort me, bro. So I was like, so I gave her a little advice, but not the most advice. Like, bro, you gonna be better than me. But she would love this. She would love us having a good time. I think that her service, if she had to pick it out, it would have been a poetry slam. And I say that for myself, like, it could be a poetry slam, it could be all of us here. But the poets that are going to come up after this are going to be amazing. We had somebody fly all the way from Rhode Island. Give it up for Devin. And I just remember, a year ago or so, we were just sitting in my living room. It was a slam team, it was Patience, it was and I couldn't come to the slam, and I passed it off, to Devin, not pass it off in a way which he's beneath, like he's an amazing coach as well, and he picked up that honor, and he took them all to nationals, and I think that sharing that moment of just having Patience in the living room, and she's here, and she will always be with us, and I think that you all, as you continue on your journey through Michigan State, I say just don't forget her, make sure that she exists always. She's an amazing person, so snaps and clap for Patience.
And don't forget to sign the book.
And sign the book, and talk to her mom as much as you can, as much as you're willing to receive. So, all right, so on the count of 3, tonight is for Patience, right? So 1, 2, 3, Patience. 1, 2, 3.
Patience.
1, 2, 3.
Patience.
1, 2, 3.
Patience.
All right, let's give it up to your host for the first hour. We'll have a video as well. So, yeah.
Hey y'all, my name's Devin Samuels. Thank y'all for coming tonight. Clap it up for yourself real quick. It's definitely somber, but someone who was not somber in the face of adversity was Patience, someone who could walk into a room and just break it open with a smile and crack jokes no matter the context is how I met this person, right? So T allowed me the honor of taking this team to a nationals, and I remember that first night just running through every poem. I remember a qualifying bout where Patience broke the room open with her joyous poems. I remember us slamming, you remember all the lights shut off mid-poem, and we kept it going until the poem was done. And just some late nights, some moments watching people, I remember introducing Patience to some of the poetry stars that she loved, and just the light in her eyes, and just watching her bring that back to every other space she was a part of. It was really crucial to have energy like that in the room. to remind us to stay present in joy, even when we are dealing with and grappling with difficult things. So it was like just such a shock when I heard news. And of course I was gonna hop a plane to be here. And I'm so excited to see y'all here to enjoy poetry in Patience honor. So you have a poem of Patience?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm gonna kick it to Dre in a sec, but I would also love to read something about grief. And I also want to invite folks who knew Patience to continue coming up and sharing. But also, if you have someone else in your life that you hold dear and want to speak a little bit to passing or tools of healing, I really want to encourage that work to be on stage as well. And then when we close out this portion, we're going to close it out with a little slideshow in dedication to Patience. That work for y'all?
Yeah.
Yes? Yeah. All right, I need to hear volume if that works for y'all. So this is a poem about linear time. It's clever how the universe, space-time, tricks you into believing it's linear. Like, you know, when your friend passed, there was first a before in which she was alive, and then an after, the future. The world you live in now, or how once when you were a small child, you were literally small and a child, but now you can reach the highest shelf in the apartment you signed a lease on. My friend Susie told me once that she never visited her best friend ever since he moved to New Zealand. And I said she always could. She's grown and has mobility and the means to get pretty much to and from anywhere. She told me she wouldn't go. That since he is there, and there isn't a real place to her, there has become a catch-all for everything gone. That now, no one has died. All her friends just moved to New Zealand. They are laughing and singing with her best friend, and even though she can't visit, they are there. And that's the truest thing I have ever heard. Because physics shows that probably, maybe, most likely, that's exactly the way it is. Time bends and twists, and my cousin isn't here, but the past is a place my friend used a noose to travel to, and he lives there now, and she lives there now, and laughs and sings with my cousin and old cats and other things that we can't reach. She is there, and I can't visit, which makes us feel like something was lost. You know how growing feels like loss? It's just a trick of the human brain. It's a plane ticket I can't afford. It's a place in the distance we can't keep in focus but rest just past the curve of the planet. That is where my joints don't crack. Where my first love is still in love with me, where I smoke cigarettes between class and grandparents and cousins and friends are alive. Linear time is the trap. Is the way in which we self-harm, is the question I keep crying over even though I know the answer. It's not that anything is unattainable. It's not that I can never see you again. I can. I just can't afford to. I can't pay the dues yet. You are alive, though. You are alive. Thank you. Next up, welcome Dre to read a poem about patience.
Got the poem?
Yeah.
One from Cupsy, by the way, too. This poem is called So I'm at a Party. So I'm at a party. The boy's grandpa just died. It's someone's birthday. There are 3 people smoking in the corner. I'm one person dancing alone with 8 people watching. There's only one bathroom with 2 stalls, a person fucking in the first and someone throwing up in the other, while 6 people have no choice but to stand and wait. The girl I like is off with the girl she likes while I'm here watching, waiting to see if she's going to refill my cup for the night. Doesn't matter if the glass is half full or half empty, I'm still going to chug that bitch anyway. To drink myself something she won't remember in the morning. The one girl with the mini skirt in the middle of February who says she wants me to be like her little secret. And there's another one who's so drunk she tells me she loves me. And I'm so drunk that I almost believe her. She asks me for my name and I say Patience. She goes, oh, you like Catwoman? And I swear to God, we could have got married that right there. There's a boy here that doesn't believe I'm gay, and she tells me, prove it. So I read him this poem. When I say I am in love with every girl from the party, I mean the one who helps me pretend like this is all real for a second. I swear to God, when she kissed me, she meant it, even when she forgets my name tomorrow. Even when she tells me that she didn't mean for me to come over. Even when I'm the reason how she got home in the first place. I swear to God, I'm in love with every girl in the party. The one calling her mom when the edibles hit. The one who bought her own playlist, her own drinks, her own boyfriend, and the girl who won't have one after this night is over. The one that tries not to look at me when we are in class the next day. The girl that treats me like I'm her first party. She says she only wants me to dance with me. And right then I become her favorite song for at least 3 minutes. I will always be the moment before the kiss. I will always be something that will never last. This is her first name, first time that means absolutely nothing to her. When I say I'm in love with every girl at the party, I mean the one who wasn't invited in the first place. The one who makes every mistake possible. The one who doesn't leave until she ruins at least one person's life. Until the person I hate whispers, I'm glad she came. Until she even wonders how she got here to begin with. Until I do too.
You can say that for Patience.
Yeah.
That's her fault.
Give me
right?
that's Patience. Give me a Patience.
Alright, so we want to make sure that we also acknowledge the fact that this could be a lot more people. We do have caps on campus, and December 6th they're hosting a sit-in. So if you are feeling things that you need to work through, you need a counselor to help you work through, please visit the CAPS office, especially December 6th, where they'll be listening to you. But I feel like we're all here and we're all listening, and I think that we're all a community of people. So if there are things that you need, if there are things that you need to talk through, please make sure that you talk to other people or visit us, and we can point you in the right direction of resources. And as down as that is, every time I keep coming back to thinking about like Patience. And you read the poem like she would, I mean she would have killed it, but like 'cause she's fucking so good. But her fucking writing was so amazing. So I had to say, give it up again. Like these, and she will. I'm not really a thief, but if I did steal her poems, you know, just let me just pretend like they're my own, I think she would actually appreciate it. So that poem, the roommate poem, is just like I gave it because it's like, it's all mine. So there's no fights after this. I'm actually playing the poem, reading the poem, and so we'll let Devin come back up. But you have a poem, right? Like that we're supposed to read together.
We kind of read it as like a pre-show.
Yeah, without me. Okay, all right.
It was a poem from that poem. That
Oh, it was a poem.
bigger poem.
Okay, all right. So just send me the poem after.
Okay. Yeah.
But in that, give it up for Dre again.
Yeah.
No, and please, like, talk to people. Talk to people, make sure you know where people are at, how folks are doing, and like no one should ever feel alone dealing with any of this. And so there are resources on campus, and also as a community, we are a resource for each other. So I'm really happy to see people in this room being able to honor that. So next I would like to invite up Xavier to say some words. Thank you all so much. Give it up for Xavier.
Turn the mic a little bit towards the camera because we're getting like offside heads. You know, that's the camera. So your back is towards the camera. So, yeah, everybody.
I'll play it up.
Yeah, just.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
You can respond. It's fine. No one. I'm not going to assault you. You're good. Like we're not going to fight or anything. Hi. My name is Xavier. I knew Patience for a long time. We met at a S.T.E.A.M where we tied for first, which is weird, I guess. But yeah, that was how it all started, like 6-ish years ago. I would say more words if I could. But one of the things that I've thought about a lot is we dated for like a while. And, you know, like relationships have all those ups and downs and stuff. And it's been difficult, but really rewarding, understanding that, like, that's a privilege to know somebody in that capacity, to be able to have, you know, all of those. So, I wrote a poem about her a long time ago, in one of those down moments, and she liked it a lot, which was weird, because it was like, hey, I'm kind of mad at you right now. But yeah, she liked it a lot, and so I'll read it. You're the mirror I reluctantly walk past, a reminder of all the things I'm scared of and try to hide from, which is to say, myself. You are my every insecurity personified. When I look at you, I see the faces of everyone more interesting than me, more beautiful than me, more of what you want than I can be, and wonder how exactly I should go about changing mine. Pray for skin of Play-Doh and hair of yarn. Ask God why he had to make me in his image and not hers. Why I must be fallen angel, fruit not quite forbidden, just undesired heart, unable to beat at a speed that makes you want to dance and stay after the drinks are finished. Because no matter how hard I try, you always leave. Say it's because I didn't ask you to stay. As if my mouth has ever known how to say I want, or this hurts instead. I let my mouth form something a little more familiar. My tongue takes a shape it's beginning to mistake for itself. A white flag. And I'm sorry. It's my fault. I take comfort in the fact that this is the only way to love I've ever known. Let it retreat into my stomach. Tell it you did your best. And pray next time my best is enough. Thank you.
Together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Breathe.
One more. 1, 2, 3. We don't always know what we mean to each other. And sometimes we do, and that can be cute. Clap it up for Xavier one more. I want to open the mic back up if anyone wants to come out and say a piece about grief, healing, or share a story about patience. Just gonna step back.
Everybody know I'm gonna face the camera because can't nobody see who's on the microphone. But I'm just here to say my child was amazing. I tell people all the time she would write before she even know how to form words. She used to tell me, Mommy, I say, you write. And I would write it and read back what I say. And I would read it back. She said, that's not what I say. That's not what I say. I say. And I would have to rewrite it and tell her again. She said, that's good, that's good. And since I knew I had something special, and every Mother's Day, every birthday, she wrote me a personal card or a letter thanking me. And I remember the first one by heart. She was either in the first or kindergarten, and it went something like this. Mommy, you're the best. I never let you rest. I like the way you dress. I can't say the rest, but Mommy, you're the best. And I still have it. And if you were to see it, you would see that it was done by a first grader. And the poem that's on back of the card that I've given most of you is a poem she wrote in 3rd grade. I left it politically correct with a mistake on it because that's how she wrote it. And if I would have corrected it, she would have, that's not what I said. I say you, not your. And so I left it, and it makes me smile when I see that little typo. So I just want you to know she's been like that. She made every school newspaper. Her writings was in it. She made the science fair at Coble Hall. Then she decided she didn't want to go after she won. Coming to MSU was her choice. It's her first choice, and it was her only choice to be here at this college. She stayed deep in my pockets, as everybody knows. She traveled not only to South America, she stayed this summer in South America, visiting the Amazon jungle, Ecuador. Thanks to Xavier, she was almost but fluent in Spanish. And it was due to him and his closeness with her. And I just want him to know that she really absorbed all of it and welcomed it when she was in Texas and was able to use her Spanish. You know, traveling to Mexico. She even went to Disney World before she left. Jamaica. That girl was a lot of places. So traveling more than 15 states. I can't count past there. I'm sure she was places, especially with the poetry team, that I have no clue where she was. But I just wanted y'all to have a little piece of me, her mom, raising her as a single parent. It leaves a lot, a big vacancy. But she's like a nebula that just burned so hot and just burned out too soon. All right, thank you.
So with that, we're going to show a slideshow, just real quick, with some images and some memories of Patience, and then we're going to kick it over to the rest of the show. Thank y'all for hanging with us. Thank you all. Clap it up for everyone who shared on this microphone. Thank you.
All right, so to the people out here and the people in here, are you ready for a poetry slam? So this is how it goes. Poetry slams are, it's not meek, it's not mild. You have to make noise throughout the whole poetry slam. Like, you travel across campus, you travel state lines to get from Detroit to here. You want to have a good time, right? Yeah. And a good time is dependent upon you. So if you like something that a poet is saying, in the middle of their poem, what do you do? Oh, yeah, throw things. Now, if you do throw things, and they happen to have some like monetary value, throw them at me, right? Everything else, throw at the poet. But make noise, have fun. So we like to say, the thing at a poetry slam, especially with our 5 judges, is that you have to judge the first poet how you judge the last poet. Because there's this thing called score creep. Like, you hear a first poet, and a poet might be the most amazing poet you've ever heard. But as the momentum builds, you start to judge other poets a little more loosely. Like, oh, this was a 0, but now this is a 10. So judge the first poet as if that is the last poet. Judge the middle poet as if that is the first poet. So we have no score creep. Every poet is the same. Now, judges, you have a job, which is to not be swayed by your audience, okay? So no matter how much noise the audience makes, if you like the poem, you like the poem. If you don't like the poem, you don't like the poem, okay? We have no security here. So, again, I told you poets are very reckless, but you could take them, right? So you'll be okay. But poets are very sensitive about their poems. And by poets, I mean myself, right? As well. Which is why I did not do a poem tonight, because I don't like to fight about it. So, just like have fun. Tonight is all about you understanding that we are a 3 years into and out of whatever it means, a pandemic, right? So we're all together again for one of the first times, and it could be one of the last times. So we encourage our audience to have fun. If you're all about having fun tonight, make noise. So I'm going to host the slam, and then I'm going to have a co-host, which is Devin. Give it up for my So we can't go without saying we are in the Snyder Hall, we're in ARCA, we also are a part of Michigan State Museum, so you can visit all of us on campus at any time. We have plenty of programs that are happening throughout the season. I have to do a shameless plug. We did a silent disco 2 months ago. And then we came back, we did Nightmare at the Museum. And then we're doing a wellness winter for students, faculty, and staff who just need to take a break from everything that was going on in December. It's all free. We have free food, we have pizza, we have donut walls, we have all the things that you need. Just come and exist in our space. So give it up for free shit. Do not forget the rules. And the only rule is to have fun. Welcome my co-host Devin to the stage. The most important thing is that these poets are here to make money. Like, it's a big check that we're going to actually give them. So your opinion actually matters. Judges, raise your panels, raise your panels, raise your panels. Let's see who the judges are. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 5 judges. As a scorekeeper, there's one job. You take 5 scores, you drop the lowest, and you drop the highest. You can tell the judges like how they should judge.
We're also the judges.
Right, so a 0.0 is the most abominable piece of garbage you've ever heard. You are harmed by this poem.
You want to kick this poet's ass.
You are walking out feeling disturbed.
Because we're on campus.
Right. So off campus. And then a 10.0 the heavens opened up. Angels came down, kissed you on the cheek, and told you that you are here to be the greatest person ever. That is a 10.10. Those are the extremes. Everything else should be somewhere in the middle.
10.10 is like, I'm putting you on my health insurance. Okay? You understand that? That's how it is. A 0.0
is I'm kicking you off. Awesome. So, an audience, if you hear a poem that you love, what is it going to sound like? I said someone just came up here and poured their heart out on the stage, and you love the work, it's going to sound like? Audience, influence the judges. Judges, don't be swayed. The audience doesn't know anything. Don't listen to them. Audience, sway the judges.
And the most important part is that we have 2 rounds. So the first round of the Poetry Slam, we always connect to our exhibition that's happening at the museum. So it's about climate change and global warming. But in between the rounds, we have a special feature for you that drove all the way up from Detroit, who hosts one of the most important poetry podcasts actually like in the world right now. So before she was sitting on my couch too, arguing with my nephew, give it up for Brittany Rogers, who is here. The best way ever, which is to go and give her hugs and give her money and give her love and subscribe to her podcast and find out all the good work she's doing in Detroit. So again, are you ready for a poetry slam? Yeah. Devin will call off the list of names in the order in which they are coming, and then Devin is also a poet who's going to come up.
Oh my gosh. So in this order, in the Poetry Slam, you will hear from, and as I say their names, y'all better start clapping. Dre! Misery! Claire! Xavier! Julian! Taja! Diana! Arpeggio! Ken! Musaki! Give it up for all the poets in the slam tonight.
Alright, so a sacrificial poet. Okay, y'all ready for a sacrificial poet? Yeah. So this person is basically, we say, going to spill blood on the stage. Judges, you judge this person as if they're in the poetry slam. And what you do is you base all of your judging throughout the poetry slam on the score that you gave the sacrificial poet. I think you've seen this guy before. He wrote up with me, so I've definitely seen him before. And did not give me gas money, which is $13 you owe me. But he has been an amazing host. Give it up for an amazing host. Yeah. So he is the first poet of the night, but he is not in the Poetry Slam. He is just warming it up for the other poets. Everybody make noise until Devin Sam is here.
The environment in the 21st century, a play in 2 parts. The final victory of man's machinery over nature's materials is the next logical process in evolution. Simon Pack. 1. The mother disciplines her child. Cancer might make you think twice about doing that pollution thing again. You know how many times I've told you to clean up your messes, but somehow you think that if you just move your waste to someplace else, I won't get mad or ask you about it again. Really? I see everything. You are the blind ones. This whole house is my body. Did you really think I wasn't going to find out? Industry? Are you joking? Don't swing at me unless you plan to finish the job. Don't raise your hand against me and then ask for dinner. Don't think you're getting away with this. I will tsunami typhoon you till you don't know which way is up. I'll choke you and then drown your place cities. I will swallow you whole with this ocean mouth if I have to. You are so young. You know I do this out of love. I'm just trying to teach you how you need to treat me. If you can't listen, I don't know what I'm going to do. Honestly, We were getting too old and too big to keep acting like this. 2, the child talks back. I'm so smart, I can make you better. I'm so big, you can't ground me. I'm so strong, I can fight you and walk away. Don't try to stop me, Mom. I own this house now. I'm the man of this house now. You keep acting like you know what's best for me, but you don't. I'm my own man now. I grow my own food now. I build cities. Fucking cities. Since when have you done anything that metal? Anything that permanent? Well, that's what I thought. And if you won't let me do what I want, then I'll make you. And if you still don't, then I'll leave, Mom. That's right. I'll run away. I'll find a better mom under a different sun. And then I'll own that house too. And I'll be the man there too. And you'll see me write my city name in constellations, and then you won't be able to threaten me anymore. You El Nino climate change temper. You have rain, but I have steel houses. You have floods, but I have boats. If you kill my food, I'll build it out of fetuses. Didn't know I could do that, huh? Yeah, I figured it out yesterday. I'm sick of you treating me like a kid. And I won't listen to you until you stop. 3, subscript. Stop it. You're hurting me. I want to love you. I think we're dying.
How do you feel?
8.5.
8.5.
Okay. Hold on. All right, judges, right there. So right here we got a what?
8.5.
We got an 8.5. We got a what? 8.5. Audience, how do you feel about these scores? Make noise. We got a what? 8.5. Are y'all together? Like, how you feel right here?
8.6.
Okay. Y'all, she's starting fighting right now.
Yeah.
8.5, 8.5, 8.5, 8.6. And what do we have back here?
8.5.
We got an 8.5. Give it up for all the judges. Are you ready for your first poet in the Poetry Slam? Back home, I hope you are ready for your first poet in the Poetry Slam. Everybody make noise for Dre as he makes his way.
My second favorite color is blue. Not the first, the second. This blue is kind of Miles Davis, lips pressed against the mouthpiece. This blue bellows past bells and bounces off eardrums. This blue is a benevolent brute who will beat you until your body's indigo, then bury you beneath the bed of forget-me-nots. This blue forgets you, but remembers the morning sky and its glory. This blue is still in bed the day after it loved you, like no one has ever loved you before and loved you until you learned to love yourself, but it still left you that night, just to be lost in this deep blue sea, where thoughts go to drown themselves or become flying fish swallowing clouds. This blue is the sun setting about 20 hours ago and not coming back until the moon gets tired. This blue is tired. It worked a 14-hour shift, did homework that same night, and almost missed class the next day. This blue is blue, depressed. It's the ink that pressed itself against this page. It's the words written between these blue lines. It's the burdens burning sapphire into the hearts ablaze. This blue is a born-again phoenix, flying into stars. This blue is space. It's what holds galaxies and dreams and won't let them go. This blue is the universe in your eyes, the minds becoming colorblind. This blue is the storm, the wreckage. It's the smell after it rains. It's the words I didn't write, the books I haven't read. It's the love I lost and the love I found. This blue is peaceful. It breaks into pieces. This blue puzzles me. It makes me feel like that missing piece, like I'm missing piece like a gem in piece, yet this blue feels like a marathon. It's me, still blue, crossing that finish line and ending in second place, still blue, shielding myself from sadness, heartbreak, and hospital bed. See, blue is just my second favorite color. And my first, is just a few shades darker.
How do you feel about that poem?
9.1.
Scores. Hands up. We got a
9.1.
We got a 9.1.
8.9.
We got an 8.9.
9.
We got a 9 even.
9.
We got a 9. And a 9. Get that score keeper. All right.
Give it up for Dre one more time. On deck, we have Claire. But coming up to the stage right now, give it up for Misery.
In my attic, there's a statue of Peter Venkman, a birthday gift I didn't want from my mom. It sits up there with a broken foot falling off its pedestal. I'm waiting until there's not enough guilt left to throw away this unwanted gift. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, a 60-million-year-old digestion is interrupted when a drill injects sand and water into the bilious earth until it bursts. Stacks deep into bowels bring up gases and acids up the wrong pipe. Heart burns flare, the heart burns as you see flares igniting the planet as it vomits up black bile. A violent crude extraction. For crude extraction, 13.5 million metric tons of carbon dioxide. Across hundreds of miles under memories of forests burned, smoke rising like ghosts, sitting in the atmosphere like a haunt. Land scalpeled open to install metal veins. The foreign blood flowing through, ensuring that here nothing new will grow. This place is branded so that whenever you see it, you know it is owned. 1.686 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide. In a refinery, it was not enough to dig up these decaying bodies from their stone coffins. They are tortured, burned at 650 degrees. This black tar turned into a sleeper agent, a Manchurian candidate, a poison reintroduced into the ground that birthed it. Kerosene, bitumen, at 158 degrees, it becomes naphtha, a synthetic plastic named after the thick waters of Maccabees and the golden god Napa Atum, a perversion of prayers and deities returned to the water to kill fish and plankton, turning the water thick and shining with dead scales. 268 million metric tons of carbon dioxide in a factory. This unholy cremation is completed, melted with dyes, extruded into a mold, a statue of Peter Venkman. 5.9 million metric tons of carbon dioxide. In a nearby garbage dump, trash. No one wants this. It's trash. The bull is too hungry. The market needs you to consume more trash. This statue is trash, an orphan blob of petroleum ripped out of the womb, abandoned and unwanted in my attic until it is adopted by a forever landfill. This fucking statue, all the pieces of shit plastic no one in the world has ever asked for, costs $25. 2 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide and a dead planet.
All right. Just gonna give the judges 1 second. All right, judges. What are the scores?
6.5.
We have a 6.5. Audience, how do you feel? Next.
Me? Go ahead.
We have an 8.0.
8.5.
We have an 8.5.
8.8.
We have an 8.8 and we have a
7.8.
and a 7.8. Give it up for the poet, y'all. On deck, we have Xavier, but coming up to the stage right now, give it up for Claire.
Mars Needs Moms, where the kids get upset at their moms and also, weirdly enough, like the entire Earth. So the moms are taken to Mars, and then the kids spend a bunch of time looking for them and crying, only to realize that of course you need the home you got here in. Yeah, well, the Earth gave birth to me in 2003. She became a mother with no epidural and salt water seeping out of her pores. Her hair was short and sun yellow. Earth had 3 more kids after me, gave them every part of her body she had, baked in the womb, heat rising all around us, sent out to live a life by the sea. And I don't believe people when they say they have never traveled, because every time she fed us or spoke to us or breathed nearby, we were actually taking small trips around the world. And funnily enough, she kept saying we were hers. Have you ever realized that the more selfless things stop giving when it comes to pain? Have you ever noticed that the Earth has been trying to get out of the way, mostly quietly? She's mostly cleaning up when everyone is in bed and then slipping between soft sheets. She wakes up early to keep going, and somehow she's still always warm.
Yes.
You can imagine that when it took us 10 years to realize she was on fire, choking in the background of every photo of this house, how she is green and blue and so, so beautiful, how she spins all the time, how we forget so quickly, we were surprised. The more she finds to give, the more there is for the taking, and now my brothers are teenagers with large stomping feet, and I am a woman with an ocean drowning the heart. She'll give her last breath teaching how to swim. She's the most beautiful thing I have ever seen, and if no one cares for her, we will all die. Realizing you need something, using it until it is gone, until a group of aliens take it to Mars, until it is extinct, is the slowest burn of a kill. And I've heard it's actually only going to take a decade longer. In the movie, the moms leave and the kids look. In real life, kids are born knowing exactly how to abandon. I left my mother remorselessly, loudly. She gave me all her noise just so I could punch and scream my way out of her body, and she did all of it quietly. When they ask me if I remember my birth, I will tell them no. The memory is a lost good, something that dried up, evaporated, and died on something still living. And when they ask me why she lit herself on fire, neatly, quietly in her bedroom, I will tell them it was not her. We were not watching close enough. Did you guys notice that when I asked you if you had seen Mars Needs Moms, and you might have said yes, that you agreed to have seen a movie, something to quietly watch, something to view, and turn off, and leave.
All right. As we're giving the judges a second, I'm going to remind the audience to let the judges know what you think.
How you feel about that, Paul?
Yeah. So, judges.
9.5.
We have a 9.5.
8.5.
Say that again.
You got an 8.0.
8.0. We got a 9.8. 8.8. Ooh. So we got, one more time, we got a 9.0.
You got an 8.8.
Sorry.
We got a 9.5, 8, and 8.8.
And then 2 more.
7.
We have a 7. Oh.
8.
And we have an 8.0. Give it up for the poet one more time. So on deck, we have Jillian. But coming up to the stage right now, give it up for Xavier.
I've met and read about enough Marias virgin and otherwise to believe I could trust them all. So when Hurricane Maria hit the coast of Puerto Rico, I figured she'd come bearing a child and a plate of empanadas like all the others I've known, not a fear so crippling my own father would stutter on the names of neighborhoods he was raised in and hoped I'd one day see. Together, my parents and I sit huddled around the TV, shaking that flat screen, magic 8-ball, waiting for an answer to any of the questions we actually fucking cared to ask, like what's a tropical depression, and are scientists laughing when they come up with this shit? Or whether or not 64 seems like an oddly conservative estimate for a death count during a Category 4, and what the fuck's a Category 4 hurricane anyway, and is my grandmother alive, or we decide to avoid uncertain silence like the plague and treat facts like they're the closest thing to a cure we'll ever find and hope one truth leads to another. Did you know every hurricane starts with a patch of warm water and a dash of changing air pressure as warm air rushes in. Earth's own spin starts to bring the clouds with it. There's an eye in every storm, calm, cool, while the wall of clouds and rain wreaks havoc for miles around it. I listen to the Weather Channel, half hoping Maria has enough decency to keep a list of all my family members who spent decades lighting candles and saying prayers in her name. The house they turned into a temple right in the center. Hope she doesn't try to exchange our sons for hers. Hopes she has some pity on the land that's never mispronounced her name or forgotten her story. My father tells me not to worry. 150-mile-per-hour winds can uproot a forest, but not a woman whose roots go as far back as the soil itself. My mother tells me. The Taino, after all, are the ones who gave the white man the word huracan, a monster we named could never be the death of us. They tell me this isn't the first time the lights went. Not the first time children have been swallowed by the same ocean they once played in. Not the first time the numbers were misreported. Or a white man thought throwing paper towels in a crowd would clean a mess he refuses to acknowledge at night. I imagine my grandmother plays dominoes with the clouds. Tells Maria she's forgetting who she was too. Old age will do that. She said her son's name so many times that Jorge is starting to sound like George, and Jesus, a distant relative. Together, the two scour a destroyed island for a trace of children they've already lost. Thank you.
Judges, how do you feel? How do you feel?
9.9.
Okay, you feel good. All right, Stephanie Mills. Everybody else. So I do. All right. We got a 9.9.
9.3.
We got a 9.3. How y'all feel about that audience? 9.9. Coming into the duo, how y'all feel?
We're gonna do like 9 seconds.
Okay, we're gonna do this little Price is Right 9.7. How you feel?
9.5.
We got a 9.5.
9.5.
And we got a 9.5. Give it up for those scores. Give it up for that. Alright, we got Tasha on deck, but right now we have Jillian making their way to the stage. Everybody make noise.
After about 48 hours of continuous exposure to heat, the body's defenses begin to fail. The speech begins to slur. The heart begins to pound until eventually the body gives up. In July of 1995, over the course of just 5 days, an estimated 739 Chicago residents died due to a devastating heat wave caused by climate change. With a heat index of above 120 degrees, the city became an unforgiving concrete jungle. The pavement, a megaphone to the heat, screaming itself into the skin of the people who could not afford to pay themselves to safety. In those moments, I wonder what a slurred call for help sounded like. I wonder how many of those people held each other tightly, even though their body temperatures were over 100 degrees, knowing they were going to die and just not wanting to do it alone. Cook County's mayor said, "It's hot, but let's not blow things out of proportion." And I wonder if he would have said the same thing if it was his daughter that had been one of the corpses, drenched in sweat, in tears, mouth frozen in permanent prayer. If his father had been one of the elderly men, fan turned on high only to create an echo chamber of the fire. Is it just that the wrong people are dying? How white and rich does a dead body need to be to make them listen? How many bodies are we willing to pile up and step on just to say we are on top of the world? Not only did we start the fire, we built their houses out of kindling, warmed our hands by the flame with the fire extinguisher behind our backs the whole time. By the third day of the wave, all the morgues were full, and the body count still continued to climb. So, the city brought in a fleet of refrigerated trucks. I imagine it was to stop the smell. And how ironic that a body had to be dead before they would cool it. How ironic that we would drown out the screams but turn our heads at the smell like a body is only worth the inconvenience it can cause. I am tired of hearing there was nothing to be done. Just because you didn't mean to pull the trigger doesn't mean you didn't build the gun, cock it, and aim it down the throats of the people who opened their mouths wide, hoping for communion but receiving death. These people trusted us. These people waited in their homes for the fire department to show up, and when they did, it was just to turn the fire hydrants off and tell them to go back inside. So, when I hear that climate change is going to kill us, I cannot help but think, hasn't it already? It is already here, bred by the hand of the rich white man, jaw snapping, throbbing at the mouth, the leash of capitalism tight around its neck, poised to strike. When I hear that climate change is going to kill us, I think, going to? You do not show up to a funeral and say to the family, "Thank God it wasn't me, I hope I'm not next," as if we did not design this genocide with a steady, knowing hand, as if we ever thought we were the ones in danger. Thank you.
How you feel, take your time, get it right, no pressure, y'all can salt, you're always ready. It's just like I analyze before a living. So what do you have?
9.8.
We got a 9.8. How do you feel about this? What else? We got a 9.8? We got another 9.8, make noise. Look at you all, how you feel?
We said 9.
Okay, 9. Give it up for that. We got a
9.5.
woo, 9.5.
We got a 7.5.
But give it up for that poet though!
So again, remember, in the second round, we're going in reverse order. When they come up in reverse order, they're going to do whatever poems they want to do. It has nothing to do with climate change at all. But I'm sure it will change the climate because these poets are dancing. So right now, coming to the stage, everybody make noise until Taja gets to the stage.
So imagine the Earth is in their house, expecting company. You know, it's going to be this big dinner party or whatever. So the Earth is asked to be the host, but that's okay because the Earth loves hosting. It's like what it was made for. So the guests start arriving, and everyone is having a great time for a while. Things are going really well, except as the night goes on, there's like a bunch of trash piled up everywhere, and it's kind of gross and smelly, and the guests just push it to the side, acting like it's not there, and the Earth is like, rude, but does the best it can to manage it. And here is what I don't understand. We are the guests. The Earth is a big, powerful-ass planet. However, it isn't menacing to us, it's nurturing to us. We disrespect the planet because it's not threatening. God gave us, all of us, authority over the planet, but we honor laws and obey the government because they could kill us or throw us in jail. The earth houses us, feeds us, and gives us everything we need, and that's all of us, no matter what we look like, what we believe, or where on the planet we are, yet we treat it as if we could live without it. And after years of abusing it in all kinds of ways, it's done the best it could to manage itself and us. So now the earth is in a tizzy, adjusting the thermostat to hot and cold because the guests wanted to hotbox the whole house, and the earth doesn't know, it doesn't know what the fuck to do. It's coming out alcohol instead of water, and there's nowhere to sit and take a breath because all the wooden tables and chairs are smashed in a big fight. So now there's trash all over the place. The room is way too hot. There are way too many people in there. The earth doesn't have any more wooden furniture and doesn't know how to fix the water. They ate all the food, and the earth can't find his wallet. So there are no resources left for the earth to sustain itself or anyone else. All the earth can think is, how the hell did we get here, and how the hell do we make stuff?
Get it right.
Wow. Judges, how did y'all feel about that poem? How we feel?
9.1.
9.1.
Higher. 9.8.
9.8. 9.
9.9.
9.9.
8.5.
8.5.
Are we at the same slant? Like,
Give it up for that poet, y'all. So on deck, we have Arpeggio, and coming up, we have Connie.
My mother says that she needs a glass of water. Tells me she feels like she's dying. And I give her a tear. I give her a quaint valley that she only gets to watch. But I get to feel good about my readiness to talk about her dying. My mother says her Nile rivers and every buried body of water Africa embraces are all beginning to perish. Nothing is perennial in the way she feels anymore. Your tears are not going to replenish me, she says. My mother tells me to try close the taps more, and I continue to cry. Tells me to build more dams in order for her to survive. Damned in my damsel distress, I continue to cry. I continue to waste water talking about how I'm going to save her. My mother tells me she's burning, that a wildfire is rippling out through her pores. Says her blackness is eroding. Orange hues emerging from her knees, and I tell her it will not be real until I am burning too. Tell her that's a mother's nature. Tell her Eden was always green masquerade, raw fantasy. Tell her to gather her Adam and Eve and God himself and tell them to perform surgery. Tell her she must be playing pretend. As I sit on a plane every weekend, make burning coal my life companion. Make the very thing that kills her my submissive. My mom tells me I'm so good at being submissive. I know how to retreat into unnatural habits, the same way her glaciers do. I am carbon dioxide's trophy wife, committed to cutting down any tree that yearns to take his love from me. I listen to him more than I listen to my mother, pretending he didn't have teeth across my mother's belly 2 hurricanes ago. My mother says I should stop crying. My tears only make her drown more. I've convinced myself that my way with words is its own human being, strong enough to keep my mother's head above water. My mama says the water is above her head. Sea levels are rising. Says her body feels like an earthly infinity war. Says it's so fluent and quaking, I don't see her broken houses as damages anymore. My mother says she feels like she's dying. I tell her, I hear you. Your feelings are valid. Wow.
Woo! Judges!
all right, that's how you feel.
All right, how you feel, judges? We have a 10! stage right now. Give it up for Arpeggio.
My grandmother used to tell me stories about the old days, how nations once lived in harmony, how everything changed once the Fire Nation attacked. I like to think of global warming as the Fire Nation. We are in the 100-year war right now and have learned absolutely nothing. America began with the familiar genocide of nomads whose footsteps were lighter than air, left divided tribes with nothing to hold but the elements they held sacred. The spirit world for my ancestors wasn't a resting place, but the guidance you call on. If global warming is the Fire Nation, then who do you think makes up the royal family? Fossil fuel companies not only feed the flame, but will do anything to counter political challenges to their empire. It's no wonder Azula became so ruthless. The Fire Nation is a child of destruction. It's not enough to invade our land, but they leave behind shrines of devastation. Why bother to plant a flag when our sick is living proof that you've taken over? Communities pillaged by smoke and aftermath. The problem is that only now things are heating up for you. The repercussions faced in the North and South are not new, but the result of a legacy of colonialism and extraction. But if I learned anything from watching Avatar growing up, is that not everything has to exist in a cycle. Anything is possible. All it takes is a group of passionate young people, give or take a flying bison, winged lemur, and one legendary redemption arc. They will tell us that we have a lot to learn before we're ready to save the world. But I believe right now that change can save the world.
How you feel? Oh, now you're not ready?
8.9.
You just been playing out. I know you're ready. We got an 8.9. We got an 8. I love when black women do this. It's like I'm still thinking about that shit. We got an 8.
So we're gonna do 7.8.
Okay, we got 7.8. Audience, how you feel? Woo! Y'all love to see difference. I'm wrong, y'all.
7.8.
Okay. We got 7.8.
7.
And a 7.
See me in the parking lot.
Give it up for the consistent judging. Alright, making our way to the stage all the way from Detroit. Make noise for P-Shaw. Give it up.
I walked in on my father's mental evaluation, same time 45 was being inaugurated. America digging herself a grave, my father picking his brain for his life. As the country was shifting into a hell we couldn't break from, I held on to the leader I remember my father being. Hoping in his fragile state he's still Moses, some kind of rod and rope to pull my drowning faith from today's tragedy. Bulletproof enough to guard me from the hit and miss of caught in the throat promises. Some kind of built-in warranty made my father always deliver on his promises. Even to wait till we get home afterwards. I received them all. I hated to love his intuitive thinking and godlike guidance, but it always kept me safe. Until doctors warned my family it was no longer safe for my father to be commander-in-chief of our home, or squad us in his red 69 Chevy, nor drive home the point that his dementia now holds rank. Never insist that his wires have been crossed or ask him, does he remember his missions around the sun? Doc said, just go along for the ride. As if his memories were shiny coupe classics, his hallucinations, just an art of war. When the mind tries to abort the brain as it is deteriorating. You can waste time fighting him on what is not real or become his ally. Today I stood a child in the vehicle of my father's eyes, shiny, red, history in the making. Watched my father being sworn in the full-blown Alzheimer's category by therapists with random questioning that he couldn't answer. 45 I do's in the background, all but an execution. Dad's FU smirks giving me life. His nonchalant attitude repeating after me, his eyes solemnly swearing that I will always be his baby girl. But his mind read my face as my late mother's, marked me as the love of his life, placed his hand in mine, signaling me to bring the Chevy around the back for Operation Summertime on this bitter cold-ass Friday, and I double dared the therapist argue for the driver or the passenger seat. Today allow me and my father to roam free in his speech, stand him tall in what he remembers, honor his mind in his present term, allow him to drive the love of his life down memory lane, unchaperoned, unbothered, that I'm dressed up in my mother's smile, time but a capsule we washed down with pure joy pressed against our teeth. Dad's dementia making me a kid again, making me a believer that coloring outside the lines of our reality may not be as manic as we think, especially in today's climate and the drastic change of our current course in history. I sure could use the safety of Dad's memories, or some kind of built-in warranty, some kind of godlike guidance that after today, everything will be all right.
Feel.
9.9.
Could have got 10.
Listen. It's like, what is the half point off? I'm like confused, but I get it. We got a 9.9. Make noise for that. We got a 9. Make noise for that. Okay, we got a 9.7. Make noise for that. Think about it. Take your time. All the time. You ready? 8.5.
Okay.
All right. We got 8.5.
8.7.
Okay, we got 8.7. Give it up for those scores. All right, are you ready for the last row in the first round? Say yeah. Everybody make noise. It's your poor laureate Masaki gets to the stage. Make noise, make noise.
To love someone with a mental illness is to find solace in the sound of raindrops in a tin cup. Thankful knowing today the roof did not cave in. My son was born 6 pounds 8 ounces of clear blue sky, and I made a promise to myself to always be a storm shelter no matter the weather. But to love someone with a mental illness is to never know the 7-day forecast. Trying to be prepared for the days where the sun of his smile could shift into torrential downpours of sadness out of nowhere. Sometimes he is snow on a summer day, and I can't tell if he needs me to be a heated blanket hug to thaw into or cool space of calm. So I end up this weird lukewarm chuckle of tundra of awkward. To love someone with a mental illness is sometimes getting sucked into a whirlwind of self-guilt. Every interaction makes me question myself. Like when his mother and I are high friction and dry heat, we argue like wildfire, burning down everything beautiful around us. And I'm scared that our smoldering discontent for each other makes him think it's better to become ash. Or how I too have been a dust storm, tired of such a suffocating existence. So when he tells me he doesn't want to be here anymore, I can't tell him how to breathe through it. I can't help but wonder if he inherited my suppressed emotions of wanting to leave this earth. How am I supposed to teach him how to hang in there? During a hurricane when I too can't get a grip of the reasons to hold on. I feel like a faulty foundation, a beach house in a tsunami. And he is the only thing keeping me from collapsing. So even at my lowest, I find a way to be a basement, to keep him safe from the tornado of himself. At least I'm trying. To love someone with a mental illness is to understand that it's not about me. It is to figure out how to be an umbrella of empathy, a lighthouse when he is capsized, a pillow fort when he is all thunder and lightning, a dress to weather every emotion, grab him by the hand and tell him it won't always be sunny days, but he'll always be my clear blue sky, and he'll never have to face the storm of himself alone.
How you feel? Woo! We got one right here.
9.4.
We got a 9.4. Make noise. We got a 9.3. Give it up. We got a 9. The noise that you feel make
8.5.
We got an 8.5. 9. And we got a 9. Give it up for us. Give it up for that. Alright, so before we go into the second round, we have a very special feature for you, but I'm going to continue to remind you that we are here for a special reason, which is my friend Patience. So, in honor of her, I have a question. What is the worst roommate story that you've ever had? Bam! Y'all ready for that? Y'all roommates right now. Like this thing right here. Go ahead.
She wakes me up sometimes, like she plays these
Oh, this is current, so okay.
out visiting,
Uh-huh.
and then she moves back in the house, and then wakes me up in the morning.
So just wake you up in the morning. So you're not a morning person. So you might be a problem, not her actually. She just off like it's just 10 o'clock.
Headphones and like leaving the room and all.
I love that. Okay, alright. That's actually awful. Who else? Worst roommate stories?
I love my roommate to death, but my roommate has so many friends, which is not a problem at all. But when it is 10 and I am in pajamas that I would not wear outside of the room, and I am sitting there and I am trying to micro change every part of me so that way if someone looks my way and sees me not being super presentable at this point, I am just like, okay.
Okay. That's bad. Who else?
My roommate was jealous of my girlfriend.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, that sounds like an ex-girlfriend. Was your roommate your ex? My roommate,
No.
all of my roommates have been my ex.
Yeah, that's correct.
Which is a problem. So,
Yeah, man, you gotta figure that out.
Yeah, right. Just gonna figure it out.
All right.
You pay rent, we
Hey, man, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
That's a bad dude. You know how to talk about this. I'm gonna tell you how to figure it out. Anybody else? Bad roommate stories.
Okay, so I had a apartment and my roommate was awful. She was dirty first.
Okay.
And she was a rowdy girl. I'm gonna
She was
try
rowdy
to say
and
this.
dirty? It's
Yeah.
like, okay.
So it used to be a lot of like fights at my front door, and I didn't like that.
The front?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fights in the hallway.
Jail time.
Mhm.
Anyways, all right. So, you know?
Oh, I mean, I have a roommate.
Yeah.
Wonderful, super sweet. Just
Okay.
stop paying rent.
All right.
Oh,
Hey, hold on, wait, let's not, you guys, all right, so Patience, I encourage you to think about, we're gonna do it on the count of 3. One of my favorite poems of Patience is called Going in Blind. And it's just like going in blind is like. And she talks about how she's had these this awful roommate, which I hope is not in the audience. I hope you are in the audience, because you deserve to know how to torture her. But it's about going in blind. So on the count of 3, I'm going to say going in blind. And you're just going to shout out, if you did not want to put your roommate on blast, things that have happened to you or what made your roommate the worst roommate that you ever had. You ready for that? Think about it. Got it? Your roommate can be a person that you're sitting, not y'all friends. But everybody else, sitting next to you, your roommate can be temporary. So going in blind is like. Oh wow, that's good.
Yeah, apologize for
Not paying rent.
Accountability, not paying rent, dirty draw. You spelling your roommate draws? Alright, so now you have weird. So you might be doing roommate. So now you have time. We're gonna do it again. So going in blind is like.
Thanks, I'm pretty
Alright, give it up for Patience again. Going in blind. Alright, are you ready for your featured artist for the evening before we reverse the order? Alright, so Devin is going to introduce my friend, Brittany Rogers, who has been a good friend to me over the years of poetry, who raises her kids in an amazing way, who teaches high school. And if you teach high school, you have to have the most patience in the goddamn world. But she's just dope. She hosts one of the top podcasts of forward spoken word artists around the world. So I am honored to call her a friend. I'm so glad that she wrote up with us. She teaches me a lot about myself and individuality and sexuality and all the things. So I encourage everybody to have a friend like Brittany. You can introduce her and all the technical things.
Yeah,
you're gonna have a good time.
This is what you may have read online before coming tonight, but Brittany is a force to be reckoned with, as you should know. Brittany Rogers is a poet, mother, educator, and native Detroiter. She has work published or forthcoming in Mississippi Review, the Metro Times, the Offing, Obsidian Literature and Art, and in the African Diaspora, and Oprah Daily. Her work has been anthologized in The Breakbeat Poets, Black Girl Magic, and Best of the Net. Brittany is a fellow of VONA, The Watering Hole, Poetry Incubator, and Pink Door Writing Retreat. She is the editor-in-chief of Muzzle Magazine and co-host of Versus Podcast. So please, without further ado, give it up for Brittany Rogers! Wow, it's really you.
I'm not doing this with you. don't let them kids see I like that. I'm trying to think. My worst roommate wasn't like really trash, but she was the lightest sleeper I've ever met in my life. Like so light of a sleeper that it made us both so uncomfortable that she just moved out the next night. So, it was bad. Like I remember once I did like some 007 shit trying to get out of bed because I had to go to work, and I would like my alarm just vibrated. Like I trained myself to wake up to a vibration. I'm not a morning person, y'all. Like y'all don't know how hard it is to train yourself to wake up to a vibration. And before I could get out of bed, she was up, and I was like, okay, fuck it. I don't know what to tell you. I didn't turn on the lights. I didn't turn on the music. I didn't do shit. I was like, okay, I don't know what to tell you. Because we not gonna make it. Hey y'all, I'm glad to be here. Hey peeps. I'm gonna read some very Detroit poems. I don't know, when I think about climate change, I very much think about not just the way the environment is like tore up, but the way that gentrification is tearing up my city, and that being like a combined crisis to me. See, I can get a real Detroit girl set tonight, if that's cool.
What up, dog? What up, dog?
What is up? Hey! Gang about it, I like that. Alright, so the first poem is called Burton Historical Collection, Main Library. If you've ever been to the city, like that's the big library downtown, but in the basement they have like all these archives and records. And sadly, before all the pandemic shit, I was like visiting, working on family archives, and then after the pandemic, they finally reopened, and then the freeways flooded, everything else flooded, and it's been closed like ever since. It's been trash. Burton Historical Collection, Main Library. Major flooding occurred in the lower levels of the Detroit Public Library during the torrential rainstorm on June 25th, 2021. Every room and area of the lower levels were impacted by the relentless downpour. Detroit Free Press. The sky broke that summer. Salt swept the city, collapsed the freeways, clean movement. Some say they were cursed anyway. Those man-made roads crushing the parts of town built with our sandpaper palms. This is not a poem about the freeways, but if those roads feel like a picture, we should have known what would become of the basements, even Burton, monument that it was, is. This, the tax we pay for trusting us with the earth, photocopy train tickets, census records, obituaries, our histories, soggy, ruined. Detroit Pastoral. Who knows why the deers choose Chatham Street to gather, but I drive by the corner lot, and there they huddle, glass-eyed majesty. We not supposed to see wildlife here. where sirens spin the night air its own soundtrack. You hear that, and that could be anything from behind your locked doors. This block, gap-toothed, fickle, field of yellow grass, field of soiled Pampers and beer bottles, food desert, but they graze anyhow. Whole herd of heads dip so low, I almost get off the car and kneel. All the reasons I said yes, a dare, a bet, no money on the line, never for money, though I should have. Not for what I would call money, but certainly for knowing I would be good enough to get a bill paid, daycare covered, the fridge filled, because I was mad at the other one, because didn't answer the phone, because when I get anxious, all my nerves quill tornado type. See how fast they spin. We don't get tornadoes in Detroit, at least not yet. In school, we still practice the drill twice a year. Practice, so much practice. I wasn't sure that I would ever make it to you. This one requires a little preface because it's Sonic Crown. These are my favorite shit in Detroit because people keep, I'm like, no, it's wildlife. We got ears. We got turkeys. I grew up in a restaurant. One of my neighbors grew turkeys like every year, and I was like, wow, I can keep them here. That's crazy.
Thanksgiving this year.
I used to be so sad. Anywho, this is a Sonic Crown. It's called Good Brown. Most of my work is really invested in the Great Migration and the lack of, especially in poetry, the lack of archive around it. And so that's kind of been part of my more current work, is trying to make sure that the archive exists somewhere. Good ground. Before I was born, my kin owned things. A corner store, 2 family flats, good ground. We grew brown fruit, thick bark. We lost it all and no one caused to explain how. The living let lies fall from salt slick tongues. Not grown enough, don't recall. Who told you? I comb through the obituaries, but they too lie closed mouth. Maybe death is the only truth. I keep trying to come home. Everywhere I'm from is theory. Everywhere I'm from is theory. I gather a bouquet of maps and mark. We were here, under the factory, in front of that old Catholic church, where the eggshell house was torn out the frame. Yes, there under the freeway's thin ankles. My husband and I buy a house on the west side, paint the dining room tangerine, walk to the park ballooned with barbecue, blunts, laughter, oh the laughter floating, bubble thick. Gotta be from here to get the joke. It's not funny, but it is. They don't put, of all things, a cocktail bar at the corner of my granny's old block where her once house sits fragile and yoked and sucked dry. How long has it been since I flew from the garage's roof, sucked my bruise in her old guafla tub? Can I tell you a secret? I didn't want that house. Not then. I wanted everything stainless. Forgive me for needing land that I was the first to walk on. I already belonged to them, all of them. Daughter of all of them. Daughter of hymns and riots. Daughter of the remnant left when flames lit the whole town. Granny say we got people down in Georgia, the Carolinas, Alabama. She makes me take their first and last names, last rumored location. Good girl child, but I lie when I vow to visit them while I'm in town. Instead, I workshop, craft talk, fellowship, buy books. How do I look south for the living when I last took the trip for the dead? All I remember of the trip south is Detroit's frozen arms shoving our minivan full and cranky all the way to Orangeburg. I want to say it was a good service, that my great-grandfather looks nice, his hands waxy, well-tended fig leaves. Before we put him in the ground, what looked like a snake sprung from the yard of our distant kin. I can't picture the casket, but I still hear my cousin's howl of laughter, so loud it shook the magnolias. Look at us,
so city be spooked by the grass. Look at me, so city that I won't consider leaving, though winter grips my neck with its blue, blue fingers each November. Ain't no rest here, but why should I give up my house, my aunties up the way, my church on every corner, my black folks, my hallelujahs, makeshift cousins, my goddamn can't nobody outdo us. We all know New Detroit got sticky fingers. See how it stole Cass Corridor, Midtown, Belle Isle, the family market, my granny's house. Is this the bounty her mama brought her here for? Her mama migrated here after the first riot, years before the second. I plead for stories about Georgia. What made y'all flee? Would you ever leave me and go back? She swears she's here to stay, but the only honesty is death. Before, I did not care that there's no family burial plot. Forgive my morbidity. Time does what it wants. Granny dictates details of her funeral, gives everything but where she wants her body to rest. I'm not ready to lose her, first to God, then to the southern land that held her and my kin long before I was born. What love will I own then? Okay, I don't know if y'all old enough to, Okay, so it was a blackout in Detroit in 2003.
Yeah.
And then, okay. Listen. Look, I teach kids who weren't born yet, and I'm like, ooh, this is stressful. Blackout, August 2003, Detroit. It was one of the biggest power outages that the U.S. ever saw. At first, people were worried it was an act of terrorism, but when the blackout was confirmed as merely a power outage, the mood shifted. Michigan radio newsroom. The grills turn up. Somebody's speakers serenade all our porches, and we jam, smoke-soaked and lawless, all open hormones in this powerless field. What is it about the end of the world makes you think you owed an explanation? From God, from your mama, from the boy who ghosted months ago when the air became more steam than breeze, his numbers still memorized and half dialed each evening. You would chase him down, make him answer to you while the streetlights are silent, but this block, this city don't know how to tell us apart in the daylight, then swallowed whole bodies before this night ripe for disappearing. First, the man of the house next door swept clean off his mama's porch. Maria, a dandelion blown away from the passenger seat of her new man's custom cutlass. My city give a fuck about the proper order of things. It love a malfunction, all them down wires, mirrors broken in the street. Our minivan set on stolen bricks by thieves kind enough to leave it stripped in the driveway. This block, hormone swole, smelling itself. There is no law. Sometimes in May it snows. This poem is So quick backstory is that my family owns like an apartment and like mom and pop shop on an intersection that doesn't exist in Detroit anymore. And a lot of intersections on the east side don't exist anymore because there are a lot of plants on the east side. So like Cass and Werner Avenue respond to the Chrysler plant being built. Summer has arrived and there are no children to shriek in front yards, chased behind the ice cream truck, careful to avoid the cracks across our old corner. Our corner store is gone. Our apartment buildings gone. The small brick homes lining like past like a picket fence, all gone. The only view from here is what folks will migrate across state lines for. They all know the plants pay well, clear the college debt, earn a family a good home on the good side of town where the houses have not yet been demolished, the air free of factory air. Wouldn't be no good side if we hadn't been here. Our land widespread, so right y'all paid good money to pull us out by the roots. Every Monday, folks swarm your doors like yellow jackets, dressed in their Sunday best, hoping for hiring papers to work machinery until their hands are brick rough, backs hunched over for years post-retirement. There is no movement on the block these days, only the screech of machinery, the grinding of hot metal. Still, no one driving by can say the perks ain't plentiful. that Chrysler employees don't clock out looking pleased with their honest day's work. And this is my last poem. It was about my favorite thing this year, with S.T.E.A.M at Little Caesar Arena. There's a series of poems dedicated to S.T.E.A.M. My favorite thing about Detroit is our audacity. So this is a poem in honor of that. Doing too much. S.T.E.A.M, Little Caesars Arena, January 2022. It too is a vibe. Cashed out so Detroit, she throws herself a Pistons-themed baby shower. Makes a museum of balloons and basketball and gold, and fans call it gaudy, tacky. Twitter said Detroit nigga is just the Alabama nigga in bucks. Jewel rappers gifted our governor a pair, symbol of belonging as recompense for the kidnapping her own kind plotted that year she dared keep our city from dying. Outsiders didn't call her what they call us for wearing sunglasses in a city where we are the only light. They say ghetto and mean migration. They say Detroit stand up and we raise our wrists like shot glasses. Toast to us and our colored minks and our Cartiers, necks swaddled in brick thick chains. It ain't a flex if he ain't wearing at least 2 in a Jesus piece. If his watch ain't thick as firewood. It ain't love if your face isn't encased in a necklace long as spike. There are things worse than extravagance, and they all know our names. Thank y'all.
Make noise for the Braves, make noise for Detroit, give it up for podcast. You can also find her on Facebook, on Instagram. But I say just go and talk to Brittany after the show and just, cash out her. Y'all are students, so food cart her, whatever it is. But yes, so grateful. A lot of the things that we do at the museum, we started as Science Gallery in Detroit. We're now in Collab. We feel blessed to keep the connection to Detroit by bringing actual Detroiters here. So one time, Brittany, what up, Dub? All right, so before we get into the second round of the Poetry Slam, again, I keep saying we're here to honor our friend Patience. One of my favorite poems from Patience, another one, was her talking about her coming out story and why she's gay, or was queer. Now, I never had a real coming out story. I would just go to my aunt's house and say something like, oh, I want fruit punch. And my aunt would be like, it's okay, baby, we still love you anyway. I'm like, what? I want bread juice. So I'm very interested into the people who are queer, who are out. What was it like? How'd you come up with it? What's your story?
I cried and made my mom guess.
Okay, you made her guess.
And then she guessed it and I said yes and she laughed at me.
Oh, it's like a gay reveal, like a gender reveal.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, what am I? It was like,
Exactly.
You're this.
I thought that she was gay too, until I said Xavier.
Oh, I was confused too, actually. So like she does, so she comes up to me. Oh, I was very fucking confused, right? Because I was gay, kind of. So we go to the Poetry Slam, and she does this poem about being like, I'm gay because. I'm like, fuck, another little B. And then they're like holding hands. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And it lasted for so long. I was like, this is just, like, I was almost like, her mom was like, it's just space, baby.
Welcome to
it's
the
just within year 2, year 3, year 4, year. I'm like, wow, y'all are for real? Like, are you gay? Like, what? It's like some shit. I have no idea what it was.
Yeah,
So it's like,
me and Drake are the same.
no, actually, yeah. See, this is, thank you. I could not figure that shit out at all. But, anybody who's not confused, what was your story?
So like, a week after I come out, I walk down the stairs, my mom's cooking eggs, don't think anything's wrong. Notice her sobbing while mixing the eggs with a wooden spoon. Just repeating the words over and over again. I don't want you to die. I don't want you to die. Which is a very fucking heavy thing to hear, as in, she believes my advocating for myself, my finding myself, my living my own life is somehow me dying. I guess it's her conditional love dying, I don't know. But very fucking hurtful thing to hear while you're bleary-eyed walking down the stairs in the morning.
Give it up for bravery, y'all.
Those eggs must have been fucking terrible. Like, well, you can use all the greases you can use. You want to cry over fucking eggs? What's wrong with you? But no, I think that, I mean, again, in my own story, just meeting somebody like Patience, as an adult, still just gave me some sort of like courage and bravery to just be like exactly who I am. So again, give it up for Patience. That's what we're here for.
Are y'all ready for round 2 of the Alright, can y'all do something with me real quick? Like, y'all have been through round 1, y'all went through this wonderful feature, but I feel like y'all are still missing something, that this is an exchange of energy. So I want y'all to repeat after me real quick. Everyone say, Everyone say, ooh. Ah. Wow. Snap if you feel it. Stop the foot if you feel it. These are all appropriate things to do during a poem. If you hear a line that resonates with you, if there's content that's speaking to you, let the poet know so that they can give that energy right back to you. Can y'all do that? Y'all can do that? Yes? So y'all ready for the second round of the poetry? Judges, we all here? We good? We ready to go? All right, it's just reverse order. Ready? Come on to the stage right now. Give it up for Misaki.
A Yelp review on the new ramen shop owned by white people. I write this review from my toilet as I'm taking a shit. It's been over 2 hours and I'm still taking this My stomach knows this pain like any culture knows appropriation. Like Chuck Berry knows Elvis, the katana of a samurai knows Tom Cruise. This cuisine was once how we define love in our native tongue, the oldest known language. And just being dwindled down to a Chinese tattoo on a frat boy, when it tastes the soulless dish, it all means nothing. I tried their miso ramen. It came with the miso joke. The joke said, "Me so hungry." I actually trusted eating at a ramen shop owned by people who have less seasoning in their skin than they do to this food. What can it tell me about surviving my childhood? Being mocked for the way my clothes hug the aroma of last night's dinner like a security blanket. How it reminds me of every time I brought noodles to school lunch made by my master chef of an uncle. Kids would say I was eating worms, called it dirty and disgusting. But if we are what we eat, I am gorgeous tradition, gourmet greatness, where they're gorgeous, grotesque, dry bread and full of bologna. So many cultures they stolen and mashed together like processed meat. Now they have no idea what originality tastes like. So when they steal my people's shit, similar to what's happening right now, they like to call it something cute. Like a food fusion. But the problem is, for there to be fusion, they were to have something unique of their own to fuse with. Nothing's being brought together, nothing's being broken apart. And that's how I imagine how yellow face would taste. Too salty, like their broth, or me licking my own wounds. My stomach is still bubbling. It feels like a city that's being gentrified from the inside out. And they keep doing this. They stole our fashion. No, you shouldn't wear a cheap hat to prom. They stole anime. No, Goku's never gonna be white. Even this language that we're speaking right now, it's a great value version of actual English. So they are bootlegging my food, colonizing my culture, and whitewashing my wonton. We do not romanticize theft by calling it inspiration.
Yeah.
Sorry, would not recommend this place. 0 out of 5 stars. But what would you expect from people who like to season their food on the 1 and the 3 and try to pass it off as their own remix?
Oh, 1 and 3. Judges, how you feel about that poem?
8.9.
We have an 8.9. We have a 9.5. We have an 8.5.
8.5.
We have an 8.5.
10.
And we have a 9. What was that? A 9?
I'm sorry, what?
Was that a 10?
Yeah.
Woo! Let's give it up But coming up to the stage right now, give it up for Peace. Give it up for Peace, y'all.
Ow! What do? I paint. I paint pictures. I paint pictures with words. I paint pictures with words. In other words, I lay out, adorn, depict vivid representation of objects on scenes of color on surface by means of pigments. Usually with a brush. In my case, I use my tongue. Stroked against soft palate, lips, and larynx, valid to articulate my pictures. Paint pictures with words. The beginning was the word, and the word is an expressed thought. Thought is the power to conceive or realize the state of being aware, careful, and serious. I'm so serious. Do not look at me like that. Careful. I'm not crazy. I paint pictures with words. The beginning, the word was with God and made flesh. So here I am. What? Do you not believe in my pictures? Do you not believe that I can stroke bold, colorful mixtures of peace of mind on your moon as if my paintings were scripture? Reflect the inspirational energy and light rays from the core of my sun. Cause tsunamis within your brain cells, send earthquakes up your spine, make rain and snow cause hell in your parched pupils, make your physical nervous system and reflexes go mental. Are you afraid to know a God in your life? Well, then you know what? You can take my pictures or leave it. You can excrete it or breathe it. You can chew on it or feed it to the hungry. If lacking inspiration, apply generously when needed. Open it up, dissect it, and bleed it. Rock it over a beat or accompanied by Webster's Dictionary, thesaurus, metaphysical, anatomy, text, Bible, Quran. Hell, bring a professor and read it. Now back to my thoughts about thoughts. Thoughts are really liquid and they travel over moisture in the air. So drink this, but not too fast, because I'm still painting and I don't want nasty spills on your conscious or subconscious. Because whether mentally dead or alive, I will paint beautiful on your canvas today. One word at a time, one stanza, one line with repetition. You think I'm crazy because I repeat what I say. I repeat what I say because I don't have fucking time for your questions. You gotta get this lesson in less than 3 minutes and 10 seconds. In my case, maybe 3 minutes and 30 seconds, but I'm working on that shit for slam purposes. Did you not say that I paint all the time so a God has time to perfect her skill? Now think still and look quiet. Perfect. Every 24 billion miles per second, I'm practicing painting beautiful like pictures that are made possible with positive thoughts. That is, everything begins with a thought. Your still life reality is a product of your thought. If you're not happy with your landscape, change the fucking colors of your thoughts. Stop painting your human form in hell. Stop thinking your wrong thinking is someone else's fault. Get your mindset out that box before I paint it. Paint a picture with words. In the beginning of every 300 milliseconds, the word is moving. The word is real. The word is now. The word is present. So what do you mean? What are you thinking? What are you saying? What are you doing with your paint today? God's. Woo!
And judges, you got a couple seconds. How you feel? How you feel?
This easy for them.
Easy money. Easy money. Sports bet. Wow.
9.8.
Y'all better not be on FanDuel. What is it?
9.8.
Okay, we got a 9.8. Make noise. We got a 10. Make noise. We got a 10. Make noise. We got a 10. Make noise.
9.8.
And a 9.8. Give it up for everybody. Give it up for your phone. Everybody make noise until Arsenio gets back to the stage. Make noise.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
White girls eat up my culture like Goldilocks. And I'm sure many of you have seen the modern, but I've told a more accurate version of the story, where the 3 bears are arrested even though the pretty white girl broke into their house. I guess maybe it's because when the authorities looked at them, all they saw were animals. Let's back this shit up a minute. See, I relate to the 3 bears because their family is a lot like mine, each a little bit different. Brown on the outside, but most of all not causing problems for anyone, least of all white people. But somehow, they still find the means to fuck things up for us anyway. This girl literally comes along, devoured what wasn't hers and still had the nerve to be ungrateful. The audacity for you to force your way into my home and then complain about cuisine that was not made for you in the first place. White people will sample different aspects of your culture until they find the one that fits just right. The truth is, we let white people get way too comfortable. I'm 110% certain Goldilocks wore her nasty-ass Skechers on the bed. She figured that she had other friends in the bear community that these ones wouldn't mind, and when they told her otherwise, of course she played the victim. I wish we had that luxury. If she was black, she'd have been old enough to know better than to break in. Girls dipped in chocolate are grown too early. And this is not some Hansel and Gretel bullshit. It's me talking about adultification because I'm scared what would happen if my sister was Little Red Riding Hood. White women will say they know oppression too. And I understand, like Cinderella, at a young age, you were warned what could happen to you after midnight. But this poem is for the women who don't get search parties when they go missing. That unlike Ariel never had a voice to begin with, is dedicated to all the lost girls that have dreams of one day escaping Neverland. What I learned from Tinkerbell is the only way to change something is if enough people believe. So wherever you are, snap right now. If you know in your heart no amount of pixie dust should ever allow this to fly. Snap if you believe, snap if you believe, snap. Don't let any more of us die. Fairy tales are the first example of privilege many of us can remember. They taught us at a young age that white people should be at the center of every narrative. And most of you would continue to ignore our stories because society says you aren't supposed to care when a young black woman is in mortal danger. I've always hated Snow White. At least the evil queen was brave enough to acknowledge what they do to people born with black magic. The truth is, most days I can't even look in the mirror on the wall without being reminded that people like me get killed the moment we let our hair down. So will someone please make it clear to Rapunzel, we are not trapped in the same tower. To be a dark night is to face the light at dawn and pray that you will rise again. Our fight for liberation is not the same. Try wearing glass slippers on a battlefield. This land was founded on an intersection of stories, people of different colors and sizes, giant and small, wicked and forgotten. What does it take to ensure we also get a happily ever after? All I can do is promise you that this is not the end. Thank you.
If you've been enjoying the poet so far, make noise. A lot of these poets are locals, East Lansing, a couple from Detroit, but also here at Michigan State University. So make sure you support them in any ways that you can. Judges, how you feeling? How you feeling? We got a 10 over here. 9.1 over here. 9.5. 9.5. 9.5.
9.8.
And we got a 9.8. Make noise for those students. Our last few poets. But right now, everybody make noise until Kanye gets to the stage. Make noise.
If I could have my accent for dinner, I imagine it would be the fill you up till you forget you have a body kind of dinner. The one where your hands morph into eating utensils, where your heartbeat feels less like a cage and more like the changing of seasons. The dinner that reminds you that things can be good. We would all have our elbows on the table and chew with our mouths open and our handcuffs on the floor. We would sink into the hollow boundless sublime in our stomach and wallow in the taste of my tongue twister. In the corner of our throats, our feet on the blue circles of the way, I say water, water, water. I'll say more in case anyone wants seconds. Our hands on the red circles of the way, I say love, love, because maybe he left you fasting and you needed to be reminded that you're famished. I imagine indigenous fruit would protrude out of the corners of the plate, papaya breathing praise songs onto our glands, regaining feeling in our hands after carrying our families in our intestines, and not being able to ingest anything unfamiliar, no prayers to be said before this feast, this belly beast whisperer, this menstruation now river replica. I imagine my accent would make periods feel like candy or coconuts or one of those Disney movies that set up camp at the back of your heart. God knows these clicks and sounds are the epitome of nourishment. No rich man can replicate this grand food fiasco, this limitless lemon laughter looming lava, this
chaotic esophagus invader, this monster that feels like home, this father that walks us to school, this ocean that comes to us on call. I imagine my accent is breakfast, dinner, and lunch, making love or fighting or finally in the same room. It fulfills all dietary requirements and has no calorie reading. So you won't have to step on mental scales before you rest in this body image diminishing block party. My accent will be the intertwining of artistry. Shakespeare giving Travis Scott a massage, a uniting of masculinity, an untangling of nooses. My flowered flesh stretched across the dining table for everyone to share. The meal that pulls all our mental caskets out of their graves.
How we feel, judges?
9.7.
We have a 9.7. We have a 9.8.
We're going 9 through.
We have a 9.3.
9.7.
We have a 9.7.
9.5.
And a 9.5. Give it up for your poet. All right. Halfway through the second round. Want y'all to give it up for Taja.
I saw renowned poet Rudy Francisco perform live recently. He truly is an amazing writer, but he's also a wonderful performer. I felt like I wasn't just watching him perform something he'd written, it was like I was watching him come to life. To watch someone do what they love is to watch their magic come out of its hiding spot. He was pouring out his heart, but I was watching him soar the skies using nothing but the wings of his words. Then I have this friend, and to say she's a talented dancer is simply not enough. When she takes to that stage, she makes syllables out of footsteps. This is how she learned to speak her truths. Every pirouette is a screw you to social anxiety. She leaps into a no thank you over the bullshit of inconsistent men, and she holds her final pose of the dance with the sort of grace that tells us to never underestimate her. I met a man who's a photographer, but I call him a hopeful romantic. He has a vision to show us all what makes each other beautiful. His faith in humanity and his pure passion for the way we treat each other is like nothing I've ever seen. But he sees it without even trying. His heart guides his vision in a way that can illuminate the love in anything. To see the world through his lens is a great gift. I am still discovering my gift. For some people, their magic hides from the world, but sometimes I think mine is hiding from me. Sometimes I get trapped behind the walls built by my bricks of my own self-deprecation, and I can feel the whispers seeping through the cracks in the molding, telling me that I'll never stand out from the rest, telling me that I'm not even in line when I used to think I was up next, but sometimes I can feel this little spark inside me, like a match trying to strike itself. Like a flame finding its way to a firework factory, I get this burst of inspiration. It's like an itch. I have to scratch the pen to the page until the words bleed into stanzas. My metaphors are the glowing stars that glide against my night sky tongue. Elements of rhyme riddled in the rhythm of every conversation. Sorry if you were expecting a bar there. That was a little bit of alliteration. Sometimes I'm with my words, though, and it kind of just works so similar to this simile. My lips draw beautiful broken ballads from my mouth like loose change. Poetry can be whatever you want. Love, pain, joy, and rage. It's rather strange. These words will make maps that manifest direction while trying to tell someone just how lost you are. It's how heartbreak turns into soliloquy sucker punch. It's how I learned to swim through tidal wave trauma. Okay, inhale consonants and exhale assonance. Keep breathing. Hold on to whatever words I can to keep myself afloat. I can't let this monster wave take me under. I fight to hold on to whatever control I have left, but sometimes you lose. For a moment, there's no more speaking, thinking, riding the wave. Pushes through me. Now there's just me drifting, feeling helpless, hopeless, or both, as I watch the world from below. But then I think, well, I've never seen the world from here before. And under the glow of this creative light, it's made my spirit shine so bright, I swear that I can feel the generational trauma crushing my throat. The world's validation covering my ears, and self-perceived insecurity shielding my eyes, so this is what it was. I think that sometimes we have to let go of our control to understand what's trying to take it from us. Because when you put it on paper, it's funny how monsters aren't so scary in 12-point font times New Roman. By God, his diction through my sword and syntax through my shield. Every time I put the pen to the page, I set myself free. With every word, I show myself how strong I could really be. Like I swear, if words could knock a man out, I'd be a heavyweight champ by now. We all have a little magic, a little light of our own, a little gift to share with this world. And although sometimes it's easier to see it in others, you gotta see it in you too.
All right, judges, what do we got?
9.6.
We got a 9.6. We got a 9.5. 9.5.
9.
We got a 9.
9.5.
We got a 9.5. Give it up for that poet, guys. On deck, we got Xavier, but coming up to the stage right now, give it up for Jillian.
No, that's fine. I'm doing the wrong part. Yeah, there we go. My mom used to tell me she knew if I was lying because she could see a purple spot on my tongue. I imagined all the closed-mouthed smiling I did, all of the times I knew for certain I was doomed to be caught in a lie too big for me to pull off. These were the times I accepted this lie as a fundamental truth. I think I figured it out before my brother. One day, in front of the mirror, shocked, confused, my own plain tongue, evidence of the truth. The kind of moment in which truth is so ear-splitting that sound seems so far away you wonder if it'll ever come back. And I didn't resent my mom, really. Just the fact that I didn't know any better. Just the fact that if I had looked just a bit harder, maybe I could have seen it coming, and maybe I could have gotten away with stealing one more quarter from my mom's dresser. I found out Patience was gone through a DM from someone I had never heard of, and I swear, I ran to the mirror as fast as I could, and I hoped to God a purple spot would show up, like maybe after all, if I said she was dead, I'd be lying. The last text I sent her read, "Wait, you're still alive, right?" And I didn't resent the girl who told me, just the fact that I didn't know any better. That maybe if I had looked just a bit harder, I could have seen it coming. Maybe I could have held up the tree that had been rotting from the inside. Maybe I could have stolen just one more moment, asking her to say that again louder for the people in the back. Her life was a fundamental truth. The unchanging, unblinking, ever-present love. One time, she told me she fell in love with everyone and everything she met. And yes, everything, everything. Even that, even them, even you, even the sewers, and the way they smell like shit because at least it makes you feel something, she would say. Even if the something is bad, literal shit, it's a reminder you are alive, and she would have you thank God for even that. The bad exists to remind us why the good is so sweet, and God, she was good. Is good. I told my new therapist I had a friend that died, and the past tense sounded unsure, leaving my throat, trying to climb its way back in like I wasn't quite telling the truth. Like I was leaving out how every day she dies again because there is a second I forget, and in those moments she is on the other side of the state, still teaching those kids in Detroit, still changing into comfortable clothes at the end of the day, and calling her mom just because. It feels too hard to give the grief a time and a place, as if I do not find new parts of her dying every day. Her classroom lights off, her phone number disconnected, her laugh sounding further and further away in my head. It becomes its own ear-splitting fundamental truth. And what would she say now, I think to myself, in an effort to bring the sound back to my ears? I think she would laugh. The kind of sound that would make you argue sunflowers aren't yellow enough, and smile, saying, "Why are you crying? All this is for me? Oh, Patience. All this and more and more and more, because my knuckles will be white as ghosts, trying to make sure you never become one." Thank you.
think, give it up for Jillian. Don't think she could have rolled one better. Thank you. And maybe at this moment, just we'll maybe do like a moment of silence, patience. Whatever it is that you feel in your moment of silence, it's just take some time. So I feel like it is, my duty to remind you and everyone here that there is a counseling service CAPS on campus. Visit us at the museum anytime if you ever need anybody to talk to. I know this is heavy for a lot of us, and again, it's very hard to find the words. It would be a long time even for myself to think that this person doesn't exist, but something that Patience wanted us all to live through is her own poetry and her own words, and I feel like a lot of us are doing that right now, honoring her in that way. So she's never forgotten, and she's never gone. And I know that a lot of us will do a lot to make sure that she exists in so many ways forever. So thank you again, Jillian. We know it wasn't for the judges, it wasn't for the points. It was just something very heartfelt to somebody that we all truly do care about and love to go through us communications in this moment. So again, give it up for Jillian. This is something that we have to do, obviously. And Patience would think that you were cheating. But, you did it. So, God damn it, I would have put that move too. Judges. Now, we're going to put you out if you don't have the right score. I'm sorry, poets, if it feels like Xavier, you got a hard act to follow now. Yeah, you do, that whole hands ain't going to work today. So, you gotta hug the picture, bro. How you feel, judges? Come on. Over here. It's just, yeah. You don't need to, you ain't got nothing, do you?
10.
Okay. A 10 makes no
20,000 tens.
Okay, can you give me 20,000 tens? I wouldn't even dance for a while. This could be a debit card. We got a 10. We got a 10. Let's get a 20.
Yeah.
All the 10s. Everybody take 10s up. We got another 10. Give it 3 10s.
10.
A 10. You.
That's
I'm not going to tell you because that's what you're going to do. That's not going to say. It's like, what's the ball? Give it up for our first person scorer. I'm sorry. Xavier made the video in case anybody needs extra points. Everybody make noise until Xavier gets.
I asked Andre, after the first round, I was like, man, do I do, a serious one? Or, and he was like, just play it by ear, see the vibe. So,
the vibe is here.
The vibe has been established, so we're going
100%.
to just can't get my knife and try to cut it all. I feel like I've got dad swag. I'd be the funniest person at the barbecue. We have, after our son doesn't make it on the varsity team, but he's always been more in the theater anyway, and we just really want to be supportive. This swag, I've got sexually repressed sex appeal. When I hit puberty, I got told my Pornhub searches would send me to hell, and I kind of believed it. But instead of not watching porn, I just started taking notes and calling it research. Not very experienced, but very knowledgeable. I'm not here for a good time. I'm here for a safe time. I'm not the best sex you've ever had, but our relationship is kind of more about the kids. So, just kind of think through it. I really think that that's what Jesus would want. I'd also want that if I died a virgin. So, thank you.
Give it up for that poet in that poem, bro. Alright. Patience has rubbed off on you, like, a lot. Because we would go to the poetry slams, and I feel like before we put Patience up, there would be people talking about all this, like, deep shit they were going through. Like, oh, you know, I just lost my grandma, I just lost this, blah, blah. And I'm like, Patience, go to your fucking gay phone. And she just go over there, and it's just like, I'm gay because, and they're like, fuck, this is so funny. So,
It worked every time.
It worked every goddamn time. She got it, bro. Oh, judges, it is now on you, because goddamn, that was a good one. Yikes, right? It's like, how do you just like judge that against? Yeah. And it's not, they're not against each other, but they're also like, kind of. That's like. The ball is in your court. No, it's so hard.
9.9.
Okay, we're doing 9.9. How you feel, audience?
Yeah!
Should've got a 5. Come on.
You're perfect.
10.
We got a 10.
9.6.
Oh, we got a 9.6.
10.
We got a 10.
10.
And we got another 10. Give it up for that poet. Alright, so we only have 3 more poets. Everybody say 3 more poets. 3 more poets. Make noise until Clara gets to the stage. Everybody.
Aphrodite loses her virginity on the couch in her parents' basement. The first time Aphrodite saw her body in the mirror, she was 2. It was blurry, a truth she did not understand. She came out of the ocean fully wet. She teased and they cheered. Such a good girl. The second time Aphrodite saw her body, she was 16. It was the clearest image she ever got. It told her what to do before she had ever done it, how to want to be touched in the angle between thigh and chin, to hate with open arms and a puffed out chest. When they fucked for the first time, she was a museum. Visited, discussed, left alone. Aphrodite kept artifacts of every book, friend, assumption, commercial telling her how this should go. They wrote descriptions about her. Said she was from the ocean, something worth preserving. A perfect give-it-to-me angel baby, such a good girl. When they fucked for the first time, her body was a fire in the ocean, mostly unheard. She was 16, she was 26, she was born already swimming. She knew how to swim, how to float, how to be quiet. Where she comes from, you can't hear anything underwater. You can't hear anything inside of the body you own. When they fucked for the first time, she did not realize she was using her own 2 hands. She did not realize they were actually having sex, did not know that when you die, your eyes can still be open, the body's still wet with the beginning. You can die having done everything right. Part of her still wanted to fall asleep right in his arms. When he left was when he came, and he did not take her when he went. Funny how what she comes from has no trouble going home without her. Funny how the tide manages to forget itself after it crashes onto the shore. Amazing how leaving is the easiest part. When she was born, and her body came out of another, she was not there. A truth she did not understand. The pain was born not when he looked at her, but when he looked away. When they fucked that first time, he looked at the pillow behind her head, and when his body came out of her, she was right there. Funny how we live to be left. Always easier to visit, discuss, and leave alone. And no one is meant to remember the actual beginning. The third time Aphrodite saw her body, she was 16. Wiped red from her leg and flipped a couch cushion. She got out of the shower and looked at her reflection. It was blurred. The mirror was the cleanest it had ever been. She just could not find herself.
Give it up for some pen game, y'all.
9.5.
We got a 9.5.
Okay.
We got another 9.5.
Okay.
9.3.
We got a 9.3.
8.5.
We got an 8.5.
9.5.
And we have a 9.5. Give it up for that poet. Can we say 2 more poems?
2 more.
All right, give it up for Misery.
like to have a non-existent father, to live with an overpruned family tree until your mother's trunk and your singular branch are all that exist of your history, to have a genetic test come back half empty, like the absence reaches into even your DNA. I can't know how deep that well goes, or whether I, like you, would fill it with venom thicker than water so you don't sink into its depths and drown too. I don't know what it's like to be considered worthless, not lacking worth, an empty drone replaceable by thousands, but an antimatter of worth, annihilating everyone around you in a self-destructive reaction, left only to surround yourself with offspring, hoping that their value might counter your vitriol and be seen as more than a weaponized uterus, Saturn devouring your children. 3, I don't know what it's like to have the twilight of your life come in the afternoon, to be abandoned by everything except the anger and alcohol fermented inside you, you who refuse to be the invisible homeless, choosing instead violence that they would have to look at you for. This is not where I thought this would end, a test of how far back my compassion would stretch before rubber banding back as a fist. 1. Did you know wasps are haploids? They only have one set of chromosomes, genetically no father, so yes, you are correct, they're all bastards. 2, did you know that the ovipositor, the organ insects use to lay eggs, evolved into wasp stingers? Birth weaponized by replacing eggs with mastoperin and phospholipase A1 venom, and as cosmic punishment for switching procreation with poison, they can only eat liquids, relying on their offspring to eat solid foods or they starve. 3, did you know that after the mating season ended and the larvae are fed, the wasps are kicked out of the nest? They are destined to wander and get drunk off fermented fruit, to fuck around and find out until they literally die mad. I see your struggles, your pain, your hopelessness, and now 4. I just wanted to walk down the street, but now my leg is burning and you are crushed under my foot. There are no winners here, only the knowledge that evolution has crafted you to be the ultimate asshole, your smooth body that can't even transfer pollen, a testament to the fact that in the boundless, ingenious cruelty of this world, things can always be made just a little worse. You didn't choose this, but it seems like my empathy ends at 4 stings. Fuck all wasps.
All right, judges. Where are we at?
9.1.
We have a 9.1.
All right.
We have a 9. Audience, how you feel?
That's
good.
Maybe a 9.
We have a 9.
8.7.
We have an 8.7.
8.5.
And we have an 8.5. Give it up for that poet, y'all. And now, closing out the slam. Give the last that you got. Give it up for Dre.
Question mark behind my ear, because I question what I hear. You can ask about my personal drive. Just know that lane is clear. And these words here steered through fear. Rode down some rough roads that was wet with tears. Felt from years of aggression. Imagine 400 years of oppression, and the truth hidden because the media knows forms of suppression. So check your algorithms, and I'll go find my rhythm and spend time on each line, searching for reason in each rhyme to breach minds. I hope you're locked in, because either way I'm gonna give you this work, no need to clock in. The hard places where you find the rock in. My shoes in 1,000 miles is where you find my socks in. My eyes between 1,000 books is where you find me locked in. No slave ship, but my iPhone is the last thing I'm docked in. Because if I go MIA, I don't want the FBI or CIA watching and plotting from posts on social media. Because it's really about books and encyclopedias. Because it's psycho to be in a cycle that isn't feeding you. That's food for thought, but still question what is eating us. Because like the People's Poet says, rap is an acronym for rhythm and poetry. My poetry is filled with bars that I keep my, My poetry is filled with bars that I keep my raps in, and I feed it to the people in case they're starving, because in this creative space, we are black holes that brings the stars in. Because we are black holes that brings the stars in, because That's the gravity of words. Like how it can have a heavy hold on your whole heart from the start. That's why I question what I hear. Because inside of the heart, there's art. You can even find an ear. Because when we share a piece from the heart, we appreciate everyone here who listens.
Make noise for that poet. Judges, how do you feel? That was the last poet of the evening, but we will be back next year and every year with the same engine, exhibit same poetry slam. How do you feel?
9.7.
9.7? Okay. Good up for that score. 9.7, all right. 9.5, okay. 10. All right. Cheers.
10.
Give it up.
Hey, give it up for everyone who was in the poetry slam.
Three winners of the big money prizes, but we pay every poet in the poetry slam. So they write poets based on the exhibition, but I'm a poet, so I know that poets are professionals. So we try to make sure that they actually have money. But there are other ways to support poets. You can follow them on social media, take photos with them, give them hugs, cash out, whatever it is that you like to do. Again, not just the poetry slam, give it up for our amazing teacher, Brittany Rogers. Brittany and follow and listen to her podcast. I'm sure we'll have her back again up here at Michigan State. And something very special, our co-host, or my co-host, Debbie Samuels, actually flew here from Rhode Island. Just for this and just for Patience, that meant a lot. So Michigan State Museum, Art Theater, Snyder Hall, we are very grateful to be in this space. Again, we will continue to come to the space and do poetry shows and poetry slams. But before we announce the winner, I feel like there is, again, even if you didn't know Patience before you came here, that is the reason why I feel like I'm in this space tonight. So stand up and give our baby girl feelings. I'm pretty sure that she's made all of our lives better in some sort of way. And thank you to all of you who have the capacity to come and to celebrate the life of Patience. Again, so many resources available to you on campus if you have feelings that are outside of Patience, just feelings that you need to work through. Get the help that you need, and there are so many services that are available as well. And
I'd like to say she was in the process of finishing another book. She finished a children's book as a kindergarten teacher. We need to get that published, and we're going to finish her works and get that published. I have a lot of people that want to help. But anybody who didn't get a card or anything, there's still some left out there on the table. And if you leave your address, I'll send you a thank you. And then when the book comes, I'll be able to reach you.
Yeah, and how will you help? And you say, obviously, to get the book published, we are trying to do anyway.
Yeah, she's got work for me.
Okay, yeah, she will leave a lot of work to do, so yeah, I get it. So thank you all again, but are you ready to?
Yeah.
Also, as we're calculating the final scores, let's give a big thank you to Team Miller.
Again, very humble and very defeated, because I mentioned that we all just left my house and my nephew told us how boring this shit was. So he didn't want to ride with us to the show, because he basically said poets talk too much and poetry is boring. But I'm like, the last show you've seen, I was featured in it. Every show you've seen, I was featured in it. And he said, you learn something new every day. I hope he's not at my house right back.
Y'all didn't feel bored though, right?
No. He's a fucking asshole. But he was here like last month too, like pretending like he was enjoying it. So it was like, you hated me the whole time? And I told him it was all poems about him too. So it's just, I hope he goes home. All right. stage, and after the top 3 make their way to the stage, all of the poets come to the stage, and we can get a good photo op if y'all are okay with that. So, taking home the money in the number 3 spot, everybody make noise for Jillian. And then, in our number 2 spot, everybody make noise for Xavier. Our 5th annual STEAM Engine Poetry Slam, first time at Arcus Theater. Make noise for our winner, Tanya. Wouldn't have it any other way. I'm glad we got a little. We've done it. I'm on stage too. So thank you, thank Devin. And now all the poets make your way to the stage. Give it up for all people. Your photo op. Nobody's a loser. Everybody don't get the big tag. But you know, yes. Wanna get in there? Brittany, wanna get in? Look photo? Everybody
Look at all the cameras. All right, silly one, serious one, middle finger one, the whole gun. Yeah, there you go, there you go.
There you go.
Which camera are we?
All of them. That's like you're outside.
Just believe in yourself.
I agree. Just go cross-eyed.
So that was just Xavier.
Bring her in.
All right. Thank you all.